This is Michael Gerace with Clearview Sewer Cams. It is February 5th, 2021. We are performing a waistline and sewer line inspection, and we are at 15907 Kalisher Street, Granada Hills, California 91344. That's 15907 Kalisher Street, Granada Hills 91344. So we are going to run through a roof vent. We were unable to find a mainline sewer clean out around the property. There's only a small kitchen sink clean out, and the likelihood of us being able to push out from there is very slim. So we are going to attempt to run through the roof vent. We have a 3-inch asbestos roof vent, or transite roof vent. Clean our camera lens off, and here's our transite roof vent, and this is the roof line and the front of the property. And this is the back of the property with the pool. We're going to zero out our camera monitor right here at the roof vent. We get a good accurate reading. Zero it out. Okay, we're zeroed out, and we're going to begin running through the transite roof vent. Running down the vent. It should drop into more than likely a cast iron waistline. And it does appear that we're in cast iron. We have cast iron roof vent. Got a little bit of debris on the camera lens. We'll wash that off. Just keep pushing out. Cast iron waistline has some buildup and scaling. And we'll probably transition to vitreous clay right outside the house, more than likely. There's a mesh all around the house that has wood chips on it, and couldn't locate the clean out. We transitioned to what appears to be vitreous clay right here outside the house. I don't see a clean out here either so far. We're just outside the house now, at the front of the house. We'll locate that area after and mark it for a mainline clean out installation. The joint so far, have an offset here in this joint, not terrible. No major root intrusion, no major breaks yet, anything like that. Hopefully it stays nice and clear like that, and that joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. Making a turn, and we have a major break in this joint. You can see a very, very large crack. You'll pause for a moment. Oh. So right here we do have a major crack and major break in this section. We'll locate that area at approximately 47, 48 feet on the camera monitor on the way back. Coming up to another joint, and that joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition at this time. That joint's got a little bit of a separation and a little bit of an offset on the right hand side, but not terrible. We have some root intrusion here at approximately 54 feet. You see that whole top section. Got about 20% restriction right now with the root intrusion in this joint. continue in. We have some cracking in that piping too at the bottom. Kind of hard to see. It's a fitting, it's a turn. Looks like it's got some minor fissure cracks, but again, nothing major at this point. And another joint here, we can't see the full joint because we're in the turn. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition at this time. We have another joint, we're going in, making another turn. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition at this time. And we have another pretty large root intrusion here. We'll mark that on the way back as well, 61 feet. Minor root intrusion in front of us at this joint. Joint doesn't appear to be in too bad a condition, just some minor root intrusion there. And these roots can probably be hydrojetted out and maybe maintained with a chemical called Root X, R-O-O-T-X. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. Making another turn, we're probably going toward the city sewer at this point. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. Minor root intrusion at the top of that joint about the 1 o'clock area, but again, not terrible. Now, it looks like we got a heavier root intrusion here. It's holding back a lot of paper and debris. Quite a bit of root intrusion there. That's at 72 feet on the camera monitor. It looks like it might be a wipe, possibly. Next joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. There's a large root intrusion here. It's just one stem of a root, and it's fairly large, but that can still be cleaned, possibly hydrojetted, and then go ahead and put the root X in. You might have a crack around this piping just inside the joint. Appears that it's at about the 5 o'clock area around to about maybe the 11 o'clock area. Running in. The joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. That joint's got a little bit of an offset at the bottom and a little bit of a separation right there, but not terrible. Don't have any major root intrusions or major break in that area. And this is actually our 4 to 6 inch transition right at the property line. See, we go into a bigger piece of pipe now, and we're kind of hanging a little bit. That's why the camera is dangling right there, is because we're in a drop. So we're in the 6 inch lateral at the property line. Going to continue to run in. Very hard to tell. There's something that's odd going on right here. There's a little bit of a, it's just dammed up a little bit, and it's got some over pour of concrete, the concrete slag holding the water back a little bit, but not terrible. The joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. Minor offset, but nothing terrible. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition as well. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. Running out toward the city sewer now. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. We have a major offset and a major separation right here. That's a very large offset, very large separation. You can see the whole face of the joint, and it appears that we can actually see dirt on the side of it. So that fitting right here is shifted. terribly right here. And we've got a wipe in there as well. It's holding it back. I'm going to try and see if we can get around this area. And then we'll locate this on the way back. This is probably the drop to the city sewer. This is probably the saddle area from what we can see. Yep, there's the city sewer. We're going to run some water for a moment. And we're going to clear this camera lens. And then we'll start locating on the way back. This area in the street, this saddle area, is in very poor condition. I believe it's a little bit past the point of being able to put a top hat liner in this area. This will need to be excavated and repaired right here. The offset's just too much. And it's too far back even. This is our saddle area, and that one's offset and shifted. And a top hat liner would go back to about here, but it would not cover this entire fitting, and this is the worst part of it right here. So this area would need to be excavated in the street, a section cut out and repaired. We're going to go ahead and rinse our camera lens off, and then we'll start pulling back. I'm going to pause for a moment. Okay, we're going to pull back. We're going to pull back to that. This is a city sewer tie-in connection. And we're going to pull back to our offset. We know we've got an offset in the saddle right there. We have an offset right there in the saddle. And then we have the large offset right back behind that. Even the white's even getting caught in that. I don't know if we can push it through or not. Probably not. We have a major offset right there. So we're going to pause now. We're going to run out. We're going to go locate this area. So we're going to pause our mic and pause our video. Okay, we've marked this area in the street at approximately 7 foot 10 inches deep. We marked it with orange paint. And you can see now there's a really large offset right there in separation. That's really bad. More than likely we're leaking quite a bit of water into the ground right there. Now we're going to continue to pull back. The rest of the vitreous clay city lateral appears to be in pretty fair condition. That joint appears to be in fair condition. That joint appears to be in fair condition. And the city lateral, this 6-inch pipe, does belong to the homeowner. It's the homeowner's responsibility from their property line to the city sewer tie-in connection, which is at that city line where it drops in, right past where the major offset is. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition at this time. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition at this time. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition at this time. We're coming back up. That joint just has a little bit of overpour on the concrete slag. The joints were put together with concrete. Over time the concrete deteriorates. You've got some, it looks to me like maybe some neoprene bands possibly in here as well. That joint may be neoprene. That looks like it may be the 4 to 6 inch city lateral connection right at that property line. Yes, it is. And then we're coming back, making a turn a little tiny bit, coming up, and I got a minor offset here. I can see the rubber neoprene band at the bottom, but nothing terrible right there. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. Making a turn a bit, and that looks like the test tee possibly. Another little tiny offset with a root intrusion. That root can be hydrojetted out and then use Root X to maintain it. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. Minor root intrusion. Then we have some heavier root intrusion here. That's not terrible, and I don't foresee a major issue, but that joint should be hydrojetted as well. So they need a mainline clean out to be able to hydrojet this line. A little minor bit of root intrusion there, making a turn. Joint appeared to be in fair and maintainable condition. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. Minor root intrusion, nothing bad. That joint appears to be pretty minor root intrusion as well. That can be hydrojetted out and then maintained. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition from what we can see. There's something down in there, can't tell what it is. That'll wash through. Probably a wipe rolled up. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition at this time. That joint has some heavier root intrusion in it. Needs to be hydrojetted though, so that we can really see the joint and make sure that the joint isn't broken. Can't see it with the root intrusion in there. Next joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition at this time. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition as well. Pulling back toward the house. Now we make our turn. Now we have this broken area right here that is coming apart right there in that joint. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to locate this area real quick. So we're going to pause for a moment. Okay, we marked this area at 2 foot deep with an orange flag right along the walkway to the front door to the house on the left hand side of the walkway. So we're going to continue pulling back now, and then we're going to mark out an area where we propose to put in a mainline sewer clean out. This way this line can be hydrojetted and maintained properly. Made a little bit of a turn here. Coming back. That joint's got a pretty good offset and separation right there, but not terrible. It's not broken. No major root intrusion. A little bit of a separation there, again, not terrible. And then here's the cast iron. So we're going to mark this area, see where we're at. Pause for a moment. Okay, we marked this area at the cast iron to clay that is in the planter area along the left hand side of the walkway right up by the front door. It's 2 feet deep here, and we'd recommend putting a new property sewer line in. By the time you repair the areas and hydrojet and put the mainline clean out in, you're going to have just about the same cost to put a brand new line in as you would to just repair these few areas, and you've still got some other fissure cracks in the vitreous clay that may need to be replaced in the near future. So you're going to continue pulling back. We're coming back through the cast iron. The cast iron line does need to be hydrojetted though, because there's quite a bit of buildup. If you have the mainline clean out in there, you can hydrojet this properly, and you'll be pulling all the scale and debris and everything else that you break off. You'll be pulling it toward the main sewer line out in front. Okay, now we transition. Now we're coming up and out of our 3-inch transite vent line. And that will conclude our video sewer inspection.